Hey everybody, this is Frankie Day here. Okay, for this very hot Saturday, I have for you Builds of the Past. Builds of the Past here, the topic is the SS ANDREA DORIA and a scale of 1/250. Now I got this back about 5 months ago from the Mariners Museum, Seafarers Museum out of San Pedro, California. They had another exhibit of the ANDREA DORIA in a larger scale, and they want to know if I wanted to get mine back. I said, yes, I do. And so they told me I had to make arrangements of paying the shipping and everything. And I said, fair enough. So during the time I got it back, I was having problems with the trailer, and my brother was in bad shape and everything. And he was in the hospital and things. And I didn't be able to post this, make a video of that at the time because I had too much things in my mind. Since right now I'm starting life over again, living with my family, and I got no more worries. My constitution is finally getting peace and security. So I think it's a good time right now to produce this video. Now I built this 50 years ago. I was still in the service when I got this thing. Now the plans I obtained from came from Abe Taubman Plan Service. The plans were Edward Westwester plans. And there are two different scales. There are 1/32 scale, which is 1/32 scale of 1 inch equals 1 inch scale. And they had the 1/250 scale. The 1/32 scale, I think it's 1/36 30/84 scale, which was about like yay. So I wanted it bigger. So I got a set of those plans from there. I went to a Xerox machine and copied off the bulkhead hull stations, and made the kill and the bulkhead for the ANDREA DORIA. I was aboard ship when I done this. I built it down in the boatswain locker down below. So I said to myself, before you can see any further of this thing, Frank, this is going to be a time-consuming job. And I was on my way getting out of the service, so I think it'd be wise for me to go ahead and just put it back in the box, make a box for it, and ship it home. And I get to it for the day, which I did. So after I received home, I was working on it. It took almost 4 years to build this thing. A lot of fittings came from the Blue Jacket ship crafters out of Norwalk, Connecticut. Now they're located in Maine, different ownership now. And they just got away from Boucher models. They Blue Jacket bought Boucher out, and it's right now, as we all know, it's Blue Jacket ship crafters. So a lot of the fittings I got for them, I got the lifeboats, got the davits, and the winches, bits, and the railings. I cut out from a matted fabric. It was actually used for by packing and stuff. So hey, this make pretty good railings. So I made that out of that. It's just made out of balsa, pine, and boxwood. And she's about 40 inches long. It's a good size ship. The SS ANDREA DORIA was a transatlantic liner out of Genoa, Italy. She was launched in 1953. Her demise was July 26, 1956. A little history behind this thing. I can be able to give you the information I already know already. In July 26, 1956, it must have been around 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. And she was coming back from Italy, bringing back war brides and people who had traveled on the ship. And back in those days, everybody took transatlantic passages or Pacific passages. The airplane was starting to come out now. A lot of people were taking airplanes back then. There were no jets back then, although they were on the drawing boards being produced for airliner usage only. But the piston-powered aircraft we had today was able to fly further distances, equal distances of the flying boats, and also transatlantic and Pacific liners. And they had airports out there that could land them. The aircraft in use at the time was DC-7 mainliners, DC-6 Cloudmasters, C-54 Skymasters. We also had the Boeing 377 Clipper, and they were available, and they used a lot of those to fly all the way worldwide. Like I said, they had airplanes that could land them, because during the war, all continents and the islands and locations had airports made to land aircraft, so they can be able to land there. Anyway, a lot of people chose the old-fashioned method of transatlantic passage. So the SS ANDREA is coming all the way back from Italy, going to New York. She was about 50 miles out of Nantucket. And then she was, she just actually passed the Nantucket lightship, and they picked up radar. Captain Cowline of the ANDREA DORIA, they picked up a radar reading coming probably about 12 miles out. It was the Swedish liner Stockholm. Captain Jorgensen was the captain of it. He left the con to his third mate. He was a newbie. He was learning the ropes. And evidently, I don't think the man could read radar that much. So both ships were detected on radar. But at the time they were detected on radar, a heavy fog come in. Now guys out in New York City, New York out there, off in Nantucket out there, the fog out there is so bad out there, you couldn't see any distance any more than your hand or the stem of this pipe. It's really bad. Both foghorns are being sounded and radar was available. So instead of following the rules of the road, starboard and starboard crossing, both ships alleviated. One Captain Jorgensen of the Stockholm said, well, if I come starboard, that'll leave the ANDREA DORIA enough clearance to make sure I can clear him. Captain Cowline changed route too. He did just the opposite. As he did it, he left his starboard side to Captain Jorgensen on the Swedish transatlantic liner Stockholm. The Stockholm liner had a special bow. It was clipper shaped, very heavy. It was made and designed to go through ice fields without a whimper or causing damage to the ship. She was probably about 600 feet. The ANDREA DORIA was 701 feet, and she was built by Sadro Ship Lines in 1953. The ANDREA DORIA was only about 3 years old. She was very young. Had a lot of life in her. Well, at the failure of both captains, they should have left things alone. They would have passed greatly without no problem. When they altered their course, changed directions, Captain Cowline left the starboard side, his beam, to the turning of the Stockholm. And of course, we all know what happened. She got T-boned. The ANDREA DORIA got hit abaft from the bridge, leaving a big old 60 to 70 foot hole in the side. And as the ship was moving, the Stockholm pivoted. As she pivoted, she took out about 3 bulkheads. The worst place she took out on the ANDREA DORIA, what caused her to become a doomed ship, was a generator room. She had 2 diesel-sized, she had 2 locomotive-sized generators that gave power to the ship. They were taken out immediately because it was flooded. And actually, from Peter Gimbel, had a salvage hunt that he did, what 1981, 82, somewhere around there. He went down there and dived and took the person safe out there. As one of the divers wanted to check to see if there was a watertight door was missing on one of the bulkheads. That was a big controversy at the time. They said that if that watertight door was open, it caused the rest of the ship to flood. But that the door was taken out because of the collision. That's why they didn't find it. And of course, the generators being out, left no power to the ship, she was doomed. Just a matter of time, she went to the bottom. She sunk at a depth of 250 feet. Low tides, about 230 feet. The tide is very treacherous out there and bad out there, especially the currents. A lot of people have died diving down there to receive goods and treasures and artifacts from her. And when you're out there in the Pacific, when you're out there in the Atlantic Ocean out there, that's a very unpredictable ocean out there. You only got a small window opening to be able to do things out there without being overwhelmed with harsh weather and rough seas. So that evening on 26th of July of 1956, she was holed by the Swedish liner Stockholm as she went down. 50 people were killed. What was really a miracle was she was a miracle child. She was one of the children that was in one of the staterooms that got ran by the Stockholm. And she was actually transferred all the way from the ANDREA DORIA aboard the Swedish line of Stockholm. When the Stockholm came to New York to assess damages and everything, they found that child there unhurt, unscathed. She wasn't damaged at all or hurt or anything. Kind of a state of shock in a way. I can see that. But anyway, I built this 50 years ago. I got the plans from Ed Taubman Plan Service out of Union, New Jersey. He was the only person in the world at the time that had a good set of model plans you could build by. I don't know how accurate the plans were, but I've seen a lot of pictures of the ANDREA DORIA, a lot different from the plans I got, so actually I built this from the plans. Okay, without further ado, I'll take a look at this thing and we'll finish up the video. Pick up the camera, we'll look at this thing. The pedestals are light panels I got from the lamps that I made. The base came from Blue Jacket shift crafters. I had 12 coats of lacquer on that to make it nice and shiny. All those winches came from Blue Jacket ship crafters. The bits, Blue Jacket ship crafters. The king posts made from turned dowels, and I used cardstock there for the superstructure. Now for the railings, like I said, that was actually a 12-inch by 2-foot piece of matting, and I cut it really fine and made railings out of it. So I figured, what the hell, that'd be pretty good for railings. I used it. It worked out pretty good for me. In other words, I don't know how to make railings of that thing. In other words, I would have to send away for a bunch of stanchions to make my own. So they came to my likings, to my advantage. Lifeboats and davits came from Blue Jacket shift crafters. It took me 7 months to cut out all those square holes on the promenade deck windows right there, on the closures. What I did, I drilled holes there. I had a square file, I squared them out using a square file. Of course, the holes were drilled out with drills. I painted the whole deck, the whole ship, primer, I painted it white. I got some pinstripe tape and I applied it across the white. Same thing on the water line, and I masked off above the pinstripe tape, and I painted the hull red, and of course the black came in. Tester's International Orange was used on the lifeboats there. I wasn't going to make covers for it, but I'll screw it, so I was going to put them orange. The flag gave me out a piece of paper I had. I had swimming pools I made out of Kaiser's aluminum foil. I just cut them up and painted them blue and crinkled them up to give it a simulation of water. The decks were made out of basswood, scribed with a ruler. I don't know if you'd be able to see the deck lines on it though. It's been in the museum for a long time. I lived out in California. Jim Hathaway was the curator of the Seafarers Museum out of San Pedro, California. And he seen some of my models before. I got models in museums all over the place out there. And they acquired a 1/48 scale model of the ANDREA DORIA. And they want to know if I wanted mine back because it was been there for a long while. And it was on loan, it wasn't sold to him. It was sold to him, I never got this back. I've always wondered if I ever get this thing back from these people. And I finally got it back 5 months ago. I was having problems with my trailer. My brother was on the verge of passing away, and I had a lot of things on my mind. I didn't have time to make a video of this. Now, you want to see some pictures, a lot more better pictures, go in your Facebook and look up on ship models. You'll see it in there. I took some pictures of that. Okay. As I noticed, while I was taking pictures of this yesterday, I said, what happened to my lettering? Well, I went to a sign shop. They had a stick-on tape, and they made me the ANDREA DORIA on there. It must have came off at the museum. I kept looking, thinking, what the hell happened there? Because I see stuff with that goes wrong, you know. And I said, well, ANDREA's gone. Shit. Oh, what the hell. So, it is what it is. I beeswaxed some thread on there. I was thinking about using monofilament. The screws came from Blue Jacket ship crafters. There we go. And we'll finish up the video here with me. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed those shots right there, the video here. This model is very often modeled. Once in a while they pop up on modeling modeling forums. Most of them are paper models. JSC, I believe, is the company that makes them. And they pop up here and there once in a while. And so this model is often modeled. And it's very tragic that this ship was sunk. Most things nowadays, most ships that sink nowadays, airplanes that crash, was done by human error. When there's human, there's error involved. Both captains made a very, very bad decision. If they let things alone and follow the rules, because they, on the radar right there, it showed that both of them, just like they're miles apart from each other. But they had the fog. What happened was that fog is the worst enemy in the world. It messes up your dead reckoning. It messes up your visuals. You won't be able to see anything. You got to rely on radar.